My sister and I argued because I refused to comply with her wedding demands. I 23 female have an older sister Jade 26 female who has been obsessed with Disney since we were kids. I too have a liking for the brand and many of its movies and characters, but Jade takes it to a whole new level. Late last year, Jade got engaged to Mike 25 male, and they put in an offer on a house before the new year. Since then, Jade has been raving about decorating her entire house with Disney stuff, basically anything she can find. My brothers and I have no issue with this because we know how much she loves Disney. The problem arose when she began wedding planning and brainstorming and mentioned she wanted to dress up all the bridesmaids as different Disney princesses, the signature dress, makeup, and hair, all matching that Disney princess. I thought it seemed a bit weird, and as I'm not big on doing my hair or makeup a lot, I was a little bothered. I also felt she was a bit old to be trying to play dress up and force her bridesmaids to have makeovers and such to look like a Disney princess. I myself am not very feminine, so I don't wear dresses that much or even wear makeup. At most, I'll maybe wear a skirt and some foundation to cover blemishes, but I feel this is totally out of my comfort zone. I mentioned to Jade that it was a bit childish and immature to try to fuel this obsession by treating her bridesmaids like dolls, and I didn't want to be a doll to her. She got mad at me and argued that it's her wedding and her special day, so everyone should comply to what she wants. I argued that several of us bridesmaids aren't comfortable with that much makeup or crazy hairstyles to match someone we aren't, but she continued arguing that it was her wedding, and she'd do the same for me or anyone else's special day. I spoke with our mother 48 female about it, and she believes I overreacted and should just compromise with Jade to make her day special and not ruin it. Now I've been pondering how to handle this. So, Aita for refusing to let my sister dress me up as a Disney princess for her wedding. Story 2. We really do have a wonderful relationship, and this isn't symptomatic of awfulness, but we just cannot see eye to eye on the party. We got engaged over Christmas and had planned on throwing ourselves a chill engagement party at a brewery or something the first weekend of May, but now we're having it at our brand new house on a bunch of land, which is so exciting. The problem is he now sees it as a housewarming, and I'm trying to keep it to people we're going to invite to our wedding so we can talk about our wedding plans and focus on our family's meeting and keep it chill. My antisocial mom even tried to get out of coming, and I convinced her by promising the party would be small. She and my stepdad are flying in, as is my adult niece. His family is driving hours to get here. Fiancé and I went back and forth endlessly with him trying to enlarge the guest list and me trying to cut it down. We finally compromised on like 60 people down from his 100 and up from my 30. We also landed on no kids, mostly on my account. He doesn't particularly want them here either, but he doesn't think it would be a big deal if they came. I just want it to be small and easy, and we also have mini bikes and other new farm nonsense. I want the adults to be able to FCK around on and not deal with a bunch of kids crying BC they can't use them or God forbid hurting themselves. But now, a couple of his good friends are saying they might not be able to come without their kids. My reaction is that sucks, but it is what it is. Let's have a bigger housewarming party later and invite them then. He doesn't want to, says a few people are coming from out of town for this one and won't be able to come to another in a few months. He nicely suggested I reconsider yesterday. Am I a DCK for saying HLL no? Sorry, I misspoke here. I shouldn't have written that my response was HLL no. I just meant I held firm when he asked. We did communicate nicely about it. It was more like that's too bad, but no, let's hold firm on this please. I guess I'm looking for validation that it's okay to hold firm on this. The friends in question are really lovely people, and I am sad for him that they might have to miss it. But I have absolutely 100% watched them let their combined horde take over breweries screaming and playing, and I would be so upset if they let them take over this party too. Thanks for indulging my rambling. Story 3. So my friend and I have rented together for a little over half a year. Rental agreement is month to month, and I have cats that I've had for around 3-4 years. I've told him recently that I plan on moving out, giving him close to a 3-month notice when I intend to do so. Although it will probably be 4 or 5 by the time I do. I travel for work every so often, ranging from overnight to all week mon fry, and am sometimes not home on weekends. He works from home and almost never leaves to go anywhere. That being the case, I ask him to feed them when I'm not home once a night, along with an automatic feeder I have set up. Since I told him that I plan to move out, he wants me to give him the cats. I get a strange sense of entitlement he has towards the cats, because ever since I told him I was gonna move out, he's giving passive-aggressive comments and subtly trying to guilt-trip me into leaving them with him. He doesn't make a ton of money and has no means of transportation in case of a vet emergency as well. So overall, I have a lot better capability in actually taking care and providing for them. The only thing he has ground on is that he never leaves home and can be around them 247. Aita. Story 4. I live in a 2-flat with landlords in the other half, so it's important that I be a good neighbor, else I just roll my eyes at this and move on. I'm not a huge fan of the next-door neighbors and their very loud dogs, but I choose to just not interact with them. I have a small container garden, mostly herbs, some tomatoes that do well in containers, and echinacea. Since native pollinators and other beneficial insects live or lay eggs in dead stuff for the winter, I don't clean up last year's garden until I'm ready to plant the current year's garden. I do what I have to revive perennials early in the season, but last year's dead annuals stay put until I'm planting. As it's not quite time yet, all my annual seedlings are still inside. All that is to illustrate that I never have empty pots left sitting outside. The ugly dead stuff gets stacked up and pulled in towards my door, but it would have to be hurricane force winds for any of it to blow away, since we're talking about large planters full of dirt. It has been windy here, as is common in the springtime, and some trash has blown around. A little over a week ago, I noticed an empty pot, not mine, sitting in my neighbor's yard. Their dogs were playing with it, and I figured it was either theirs or it had blown in, and they were letting the dogs have some fun with it until trash day. I was wrong. Turns out, since I'm the one who has a garden, they assumed it was mine and were stewing about it, and the fact that I didn't go over there to pick it up all week. Nobody said a word to me. Then, yesterday, I was leaving and saw the empty pot had been stuck on top of one of my pots with perennial echinacea in it, crushing some of the new leaves that were coming up. It's a hardy plant and will recover, but that was still a rude thing to do, especially when I have stacks of planters full of dead things they could have put it on. My landlords happen to be outside too, and they told me that neighbor is really upset I didn't go pick up my garbage that blew into their yard. They continued that even if it wasn't mine, it has the appearance of being mine since I'm the one with a patio full of planters. Never mind that all my planters match and this one didn't. Never mind that all my planters have enough weight to not blow away at all times, and this was empty. The argument is that I should have taken responsibility for the trash planter, because I also happen to engage with that hobby. For what it's worth, the planter was cracked and unusable. So, what do you think? Due to my hobby, should I have grabbed this planter from their yard to avoid the appearance of my stuff having blown over there in the wind, even though that is not the case, to prevent a conflict? Story 5. I work at a Midwestern airport doing luggage recovery for a regional airline. Because it's a smaller airline, the office I work out of doesn't have the best ventilation. When I first started, I noticed my eyes would itch significantly and my sinuses would drain on certain days, which lined up with what happens when I'm around certain dog breeds for a while. The allergies are not life-threatening or anything, and a decent vacuuming fixes the issue. For the last few months I have been having people with hairy dogs wait just outside the door and do whatever business we need to there. They're still inside the airport, just not in the office, and since the larger baggage area has better ventilation, my allergies aren't bothered nearly as much, if at all. 2 separate ladies have yelled at me and called me in a hole for not allowing them and their service dog inside this week, but I feel like I'm accommodating them as much as possible since our interactions last about 5 minutes on average. I asked my supervisor before starting this, and they said I'm not technically outside policy and no incidents have resulted in any disciplinary action, just a lot of yelling from a couple dog owners. So Ada,